look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every missed call, the entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The Early Line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It is an electric Saturday morning here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Game Time Decisions. We have already traded the entire A's and Yankees farm system behind the scenes. Big baseball card. We'll get to it. Baseball, great yesterday. Hot on this baseball. Loving this baseball. We had the NBA yesterday give us Knicks Pacers. We're getting a Game 7. Indiana 116-103. Jalen Brunson, not efficient. Stepped it up in the second half. Josh Hart left injured, probably the big story there. If Hart misses Game 7, I do not think he will. If he does, it feels like the Pacers will close as favorites. Currently a 2-point dog at Madison Square Garden. Total 208.5. That game on Sunday, along with Nuggets, Timberwolves tomorrow for a Game 7. Will we get a Game 7 in Mavs? Thunder. We'll try and answer that question in a minute. We could get a Game 7 on the ice. Let's go quick pick style here. Oilers, Canucks. I'm going to go with the Edmonton team total over 3.5. I do think the Oilers will win. I'm not confident enough, though, to lay nearly minus 200. I'll take that 3.5 team total at around minus 112 juice there. If you take a look, this Oilers group just scored less than 3 goals for only the second time this postseason. Last time that happened, they bounced back 4-4. This is also the worst points run, this little 3-game stretch here, that Connor McDavid has had since early November, back when the Oilers were just really a bad hockey team. Quite frankly, in his last 3 games, only 1 point, which is abnormal for McDavid. So I think their best player can really bounce back here for them as well and kind of lead this team at home. I like the spot here, and I like the price on the Oilers team total over right now listed at 3.5. We're going to get over to the PGA Championship in just a little bit. Xander Schauffele is your leader after 2, as he was after 1, but that lead did shrink up just 1 shot right now on Colin Morikawa. Thigala 2 back, 3 back right now. Star-studded group with Bryson DeChambeau, and there you see him, Scotty Scheffler, that bad man, 9 under. Shot at 5 under yesterday. Oh, that you see, I didn't do that intentionally, that bad man. Great guy, this Scotty Scheffler. I don't know. I'll let you know if he cashes the outright, quite frankly. My, oh my, what a day that was. Here's a behind the scenes into my life. Friday, I'm off, so I like to sleep in. I was woken up Hey, Scotty Scheffler got arrested. Well, that's not true. That's not true. No, it's true. Look, he got arrested. This doesn't make any sense. Just look. Sure enough, Scotty Scheffler arrested. I decided to get out of bed. I watched his round. He was incredible. He birdied his first hole after being in handcuffs. I expect Scotty Scheffler certainly to finish things out here at the PGA Championship. And as I mentioned on Thursday when we broke it down with Brady Cannon, I bet both Xander and Scheffler using a pair of odds boosts, and they are currently 1 and 2 on the odds board. It is Colin Morikawa with that next best price at 11 under. I've kind of narrowed the field down to 5 guys that I only think there's 5 guys left that could actually win this. We'll do that in a little bit, and we'll talk about a top 20 parlay that I'm going to look to place as well. Let's get over to the basketball here because we've got a big WNBA card and we've got an NBA game tonight. As far as the W goes here, 4 games, the Liberty, a 14 point favorite against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. This number was 14.5. It dropped to 14. It looks like it's dropping again down to 13.5 for Clark. The points prop checks in at the shortest number we've seen thus far, 18.5 here on the road. The fact that the Fever got 20-pieced by the Sun and followed it up by getting smashed by the Liberty has dropped their title odds from 23-1 to 30-1. If I wasn't already invested, I'd invest again. That's an overreaction for me. They lost to 2 of the 3 best teams in this league. Because, I'm telling you this right now, the Connecticut Sun are much better than the Seattle Storm. Storm 0-2 start. Minnesota Lynx, shout out to the win total over the 17.5 as they started 2-0, beating the Storm in each of their first 2 games of this season. I was tempted to play in the Fever plus the points here. Looks like, again, a lot of people are doing the same. You guys know I'm not big on the Liberty this season, but there was only one pick that I really liked here on this card, and it comes in the 3 o'clock primetime window, Aces Sparks. Spread 18, total checks in 169. A lot of eyes in this game, I think, will be put on the matchup between Aja Wilson, your league MVP favorite, and Cameron Brink, the second overall choice by the LA Sparks. It's really difficult right now, though, to get a handle on what Cameron Brink is expected to play minutes-wise for L.A. due to the consistent foul trouble she finds herself in. And it makes her props incredibly difficult to bet on because you look at a points prop for Brink here in this basketball game at 11.5, you could argue value if she's able to play the probably closer to 28 minutes they'd love to get out of her. But she's guarding Aja Wilson tonight, I'm sure, on a number of possessions. All of them could end in fouls, and all of that could be bad. The play for me, though, is on a rookie in this game. It's on Rakia Jackson out of Tennessee, who the LA Sparks selected at 4th overall, over 7.5 points for a best bet, and I'll go up to 10+ at plus 205. I would have been interested at a 15+ number if it was offered, quite frankly. I think this is an awesome, awesome spot here for Jackson to break out in the points category. So we take a look at game number 1. Off the bench, she shot 3 of 10 in 18 minutes and fell short, scoring 7 points. So now you say, okay, they were home, playing the dream, tougher opponent, could be tougher for Jackson. Jackson's coming off of the bench. Sparks are not going to rush our progress. So what does that mean? Blowout helps us. You look at the game against the Atlanta Dream, that game was tied entering the 4th quarter. Jackson sat on the bench the final 7:28 of the game. That was a 3.5 that was a very short number that we saw there. I believe it was a 3.5 point line in favor of the Dream on the road. Now we're here in Vegas, and the Sparks are catching 18 points, full blowout style, potentially on the hands here. What does that mean? That means we could get Jackson tonight to play a career-high 25 minutes, which would be far more than we've seen from her even in those preseason games. And if you're the Sparks playing a blowout 4th quarter, I think Jackson's given complete free reign. And with a young rookie like Jackson, you have to let her run, right? No reason to shorten her minutes here. Make sure that she gets hers regardless of the score. And she could get through this, by the way, even if she just upticks in efficiency. She shot 3 of 10 last game. So far, preseason and regular season, she's not made a WNBA 3 just yet. Get one of those to fall, and that can shoot us through the number. I really like this spot here for Jackson because, sometimes I say, if you're going to bet a prop based on a blowout, just bet the spread. This is 18. The Aces could be up 25 going into the fourth, and you're not certain you're covering that number. They could be up 14 going into the fourth. You're not covering that number. That's pretty much a blowout. So I'm not worried about the spread. I'm worried about Rickea Jackson going over the 7.5 points here tonight and getting 10+ as well at plus 205. NBA Mavs Thunder. I'm on this over tonight here, trying to buy low on a 209.5 number. This series started at 218.5. Dropping. Understandably, but let's buy low here on the lowest total that we've seen so far. Take a look at Dallas, right? Last series against the Clippers, closeout style, 114-101, went through the number. And I think the Mavericks offense has the ability tonight to get to 115. If Kyrie Irving will show up to the scoring party, it'd be nice to see. We could sure use it here. We're on Kyrie. But I also think Oklahoma City, and I think this is the first game of the series that I feel worried a little bit with the Dallas Mavericks because this Thunder offense could break through. They attempted 43s last game. You go back to the regular season, in the 15 or so games where they attempted 40 or more from beyond the arc, only twice did that not lead to 120 points. Now, I would expect 43s again, but I think you could see a step up in efficiency for these offenses here. So I'm going to go over 209.5 for the Mavericks and the Thunder. And then some Kyrie Irving and Chet Holmgren props we'll get to the ice a little bit more, the baseball a little bit more. We're live with you on SportsGrid.
Look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify in these majors. You got to go do it, man. And it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness. And I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. Mm-hmm. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Back with you here on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions, just buttoning up the rest of the props for the game tonight between the Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Chet Holmgren, double-double, plus 195. If you look at Chet, he averaged over 8.5 rebounds per game post-All-Star break in just 28 minutes a night. Chet started to get a lot more comfortable, it seemed like, playing in this league. So why has it been slow so far in this series? Well, Gafford and Lively have been incredible. They have been. But Chet also had 9 rebounds in Game 4. He hasn't been able to break through for double-digit boards just yet this series, but his minutes are continuing to climb. And volume is always important. And for a prop like rebounds, a prop like assists, yes, you can look through potential rebounds or potential rebound chances, potential assists, but also minutes, right? Just how often you're out there. Go back to the regular season. Chet Holmgren, 35-plus minutes, only 4 games. He had a double-double in 3 of those games. Now he's played 40 minutes nearly, right? 40 minutes and 39 minutes in the last 2 games. One game he landed 9 rebounds. Last game real short on boards, just 4. So I think he can bounce back with the rebounds. Instead of playing him for 10-plus boards, I trust the points as well because there's a world of points bounce back. I'm not on the points plus rebounds because I don't think his scoring's been good enough to justify that play, but it certainly correlates to what I'm looking for here tonight with the Chet Holmgren double-double. Lastly is Kyrie Irving. So I talked a lot about Tatum and his inability to make 3 threes. That is because it is a very popular market, right? The 3-point shots. And Jason Tatum, obviously, a superstar player who was missing this number despite playing well in a handful of games. He finally broke through in the closeout matchup against the Cavs, making 3 threes. Kyrie Irving has a trend going on that is now far longer than the one for Jason Tatum. 11 postseason games for Kyrie Irving. His first quarter points prop, 4.5. 11-0 to the under. Now, 3 times he's landed 4, 5 times he's been scoreless in the opening quarter. He has not made a first quarter 3 this postseason. Yet I'm on the over 4.5. Some of it is narrative. I find Kyrie's ability to impact this series without scoring to truly be one of the more impressive things of his career. It really has been awesome to see Kyrie the facilitator as well as Kyrie the defender. But in some degree also, he is skating by, right? The Mavs did not bring Kyrie Irving in to finish games with 10 field goal attempts. That's not what it's about. Especially in a series where we've talked a lot about Luka not being 100%, which is true still. So at some point, Kyrie needs to tap in and wake up. Now, in this postseason, he's had huge scoring games, 30, 40 points. But it's still not mattered. He's not started hot. At some point, Kyrie has to go. You take the 10 games over of the regular season. He had 5 or more in 7 of the 10. So it's not that this number is just born out of nowhere. This is an appropriate prop for Kyrie Irving, who, by the way, we just talked minutes with Chet Holmgren. Kyrie's minutes in the first quarter are elevating more so than they were in the regular season. We're getting double-digit minutes out of Kyrie now on a pretty regular basis in this postseason. And yet, he's still not able to get through the 4.5 points. I think Kyrie can make his first 3 tonight and get over 4.5 here at a plus price. I'm going to take my chances on Kyrie scoring once again and doing so early. We're going to talk Preakness in just a little bit here, which is obviously a huge race today, the second leg of the Triple Crown. We also have our second major, which is the PGA Championship, and we have Xander Schauffele sat 12 under. Morikawa 1 shot back. Morikawa yesterday did go into the clubhouse with the lead, so it was up to Xander, who entered the day even money to have the lead through 2 rounds, to shoot 3 under like he did. And it was a really quality round out of Xander Schauffele. Not a lot of birdies, but just the 1 bogey. And it was impressive work from Schauffele, I thought, to just hold serve here and hold the lead. I think Xander is 1 big round away from icing this tournament. And I feel as if this tournament is really down to just 5 golfers now. If you take a look here, what's a reasonable length a golfer could be back and still be in this tournament? I felt 6 under was the floor. So I would eliminate everybody at 5 under or worse. That includes Rory McIlroy, Cantley, Spieth, Homa. I can't see them catching Schauffele at this range. The 6 under group didn't do it for me. Hodges, Herbert, Thomas, Bradley, Rye, not for me. So you get to the 7 under. Matt Wallace, Hideki, English, Koepka, Moore, Robert McIntyre. Koepka backers, I'm sure, are keeping the faith. I'm not interested. 8 under. Finau, Eckroat, Hovland. Shout out to the top 20. Burnmister. There's one guy from that group. 9 under. DeChambeau, Scotty, Dietrich, Hubbard. Thigala's at 10 under. Morikawa, 11 under. And as I said, Xander is at 12 under. Here are the 5 guys for me that I think can win this tournament. Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Scotty Scheffler, Victor Hovland, Hideki Matsuyama. That's it. I think we're down to just those 5. Just those 5. And you can't bet those 5 and be done with it, right? Because kind of the way the numbers are right now with Schauffele at plus 270, Scotty at 3-1, and Morikawa even at 5-1, you probably could grab those guys and maybe move some things around for it to work out for you. But to me, we are down to 5 golfers. Now, I have 2 of the 5, but I'm not pretending I've got these guys pre-flop. I have Xander at a short number and Scotty at Scotty had a Scotty number, I guess. Morikawa is in the mix, 100%. If you want the bomb plays, for me, it's Hovland or Hideki. Pedigree plus room to grow. Hovland right now, 40th in this field in putting through 2 rounds. It can get a bit better. Matsuyama, also 40th in putting through 2 rounds, strokes gained. It can get a bit better. And again, for me, I needed to see pedigree. I know people are hot on Koepka. Not for me. I wasn't interested in Brooks this week. Could be wrong. I think it's down to those 5 golfers. Right now, I'm rocking with Xander Schauffele as well as Scotty Scheffler. We'll do the top 20 parlay in a bit, but up next, we'll talk previous.
Look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those 2. But when you got those 2 guys, those 2 monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the 2nd or 3rd inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back to right here. It's game time decisions on this Saturday morning. Lastly, on the PGA Championship, a little top 20 parlay for me on Hideki Matsuyama and Rory McIlroy. Form and price, it all works for me there. and that's at around plus 107. You can slap a little boost on it if you'd like, but a little Rory Hideki top 20 parlay is where I'm at with this PGA Championship. But the Preakness here is today, and it once again will have the eyes of every horse bettor, but also folks that only bet horses 3 times a year. And this would be the second. To help us with that is David Aragona. David, we talked a little bit on Thursday about this field shrinking, right, down just to 8. Anything that has changed heading into the Preakness for you since we last talked on Thursday?
Yeah, that horse that was expected to be the favorite, the number 4 Muth, was withdrawn due to coming up with a temperature when he shipped to Baltimore. So it's going to be a field of 8. The only thing that really has changed is that the rain that was expected to come has come. We now know that to be the case. It's going to be a muddy or sloppy track in all likelihood by the time the Preakness is contested later this afternoon. So it remains to be seen how some of these contenders actually handle the wet track. And I think you could argue the horse that moves up most in this situation might be the Kentucky Derby winner, Mystic Dan, because he qualified for the Kentucky Derby, earning his big win prior to that over a sloppy racetrack.
And the fact that it benefits Mystic Dan, obviously huge, but does it ever, a situation where you're having a track like that, does it create variance, or does it open the door for long shots, or does it end up the more battle-tested horse, if you will, has the advantage in those type of conditions?
Yeah, I would say a muddy surface creates more unpredictability because a lot of these horses don't have experience over it, and not every wet track is created same as another one. Sometimes more moisture content can favor certain horses. We just saw a race early in the day that they ran when this Preakness card started that had a nearly 40-to-1 shot win that was hard to make on paper. So you can see some long shots come in on days like this.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting then. So for you, where does the card begin for the Preakness? You know, people are going to be looking to bet this one outright here. Who do you feel strongest about?
So the 2 horses that I'm looking to go for in this race are the number 3, Catching Freedom, and the number 8, Tuscan Gold. I respect Mystic Dan. I just wasn't on board when he won the Kentucky Derby at a much bigger price last time. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon when he is the likely favorite in this Preakness. Catching Freedom, he finished behind Mystic Dan in the Kentucky Derby. He was a pretty close 4th in that race, and he got a pretty good trip, all things considered, but did have some traffic and kickback to deal with, and was finishing well that day. I thought his overall body of work coming into the Preakness was into the Derby, I should say, was just stronger and more consistent than that of Mystic Dan. So I think he's a more reliable option coming into this Preakness Stakes. And I also think that it's a positive sign that he's running back in the 2 weeks. He's doing well coming out of the Kentucky Derby, whereas Mystic Dan sort of has an obligation to run back, being the Kentucky Derby winner, having to go for that Triple Crown. And as for the number 8, Tuscan Gold, the other horse that interests me, he's going out for one of the top trainers in horse racing. That is Chad Brown. He's won the Preakness a couple of times in the past several years with horses that have a very similar profile to Tuscan Gold, a horse that skipped the Kentucky Derby, is lightly raced coming in, and does appear to have upside.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be really interesting then. Again, just for me, it stands out just how much shorter the field is here at the Preakness. Does it bring into play then a lot more of the boxes, the trifectas, the superfectas for you then, David, when betting a race like this?
Yeah, I think you could say with a smaller field, it should be a more fairly run race. I think there are less concerns about traffic and adversity in terms of the trips, but then you have that muddy track component that gets thrown into it that maybe creates some more unpredictability. So I think that it's going to be a race where since it's a smaller field, you probably want to narrow down your play to maybe play some straight exactas or a trifecta that's just focusing on the horses that you really like in the first couple of slots, rather than spreading a lot and using a lot of horses like what might have been the strategy playing the Kentucky Derby.
And then, listen, I'm curious, David, because I'm sure this is not the only race today. Is there anything outside of the Preakness you're going to have your eye on here on this Saturday?
Yeah, it's a really interesting card. There are stakes races throughout the day leading up to the Preakness. I'm pretty interested in the race right before the Preakness. It's a stakes race called the Dinner Party. There's a horse in there, the number 1, Highland Chief. I think he is going to be around 5 or 6 to 1 in that race. But he's a turf horse running on the turf, and I think he's going to appreciate the wet conditions that they have in Baltimore.
All right, certainly something we'll be keeping our eyes on. David Aragona helping us break down the Preakness. David, best of luck. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right, great stuff there. And again, people always step up when it comes to the Triple Crown opportunities there. We'll see what Mystic Dan can pull together. We're going to go to the ice with Joe Madden next. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
Look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
We're live on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions. We're with you here on this Saturday morning. Playoff action in the NBA tonight. The Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game number 6, a 3.5-point line in favor of Dallas. A city already celebrating a major postseason win last night on the ice with the Stars and the Avalanche. And to help us talk a little bit about that and a little bit about the Oilers Canucks, that would be Joe Madden. Joe, happy to talk to you here on this Saturday morning. I want to start with Av Stars, though. Little controversy on the winner for Dallas that was seemingly settled with the Stars still winning this game in double overtime here. What did you make of that game last night in Dallas advancing 4-2?
What a fantastic game we had, and Dallas definitely deserved to win that. We had that controversial goal in the first overtime taken away by Duchamp, and he was able to come back and get that second goal in OT. The Dallas Stars absolutely played the better game in that one. So I tip my hat to them moving on to the next round here, but I really did want this one to go to 7, Kevin. I did think Colorado would be able to come out stronger in that one, but we saw goaltending really come to life for the Dallas Stars in that, with Jake Ottinger absolutely standing on his head. And that was a game of both goaltenders playing so solid out there. I thought we were going to go to a third overtime in that last night because both of these teams weren't giving up those opportunities. Those high danger shots weren't coming. And when they were, those goaltenders absolutely were standing on their heads. So it was a fantastic game out there. Excited to see Dallas take on the winner of the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers series. It's going to be fantastic out there.
And with the Stars win, Joe, they've actually now moved to Cup favorites at plus 180. Does that surprise you at all? Before we get to the Oilers-Canucks situation there, do you feel that Dallas is going to have a big edge going into the next series?
I think Dallas has a fantastic opportunity here. You look at the Edmonton Oilers, and I still question the depth of this team and goaltending. So the Dallas Stars against the Edmonton Oilers definitely have the upper hand. And then with the Vancouver Canucks, and no word still on if Demko's going to be back. And for the Vancouver Canucks to get past a team like the Dallas Stars, Demko has to be in net, in my opinion. And I know Silas has been coming out nice and strong for Vancouver, but Jake Ottinger will be the star goaltender out there on the ice if it's those two matched up. So I like what the books have done with Dallas. I do think they have every opportunity. This team has the depth and they have the scoring ability across all of their lines. So I'm not concerned about them. Now, they'll face the winner of the Rangers and the Florida Panthers series if they're able to get through that next round. And I tell you, both of those teams are absolutely stacked goaltending-wise, but I do think it is worth a shot on the Dallas Stars because I do think they come out of the conference winners.
Well, let's talk about this Oilers-Canucks game, Joe. Vancouver, who I believe you were on in Game 5, if memory serves. A dog here on the road, which is no surprise, but they've had success in this series. They've won in Edmonton, and they're having a chance now to advance to that meeting with Dallas, as you've mentioned. What are you expecting here in Game 6?
Well, Kevin, firstly, we have to address these odds. You look at the Vancouver Canucks, they're up 3-2 in this series, looking to get that fourth win and close it out. And they're a plus 162 underdog in this one. I don't think they've been the favorite in any of these matchups. And I think the books are really underestimating this team. This is a team that finished first in the Pacific above the Edmonton Oilers that was so dominantly strong versus the Oilers during the regular season as well. And no one giving them credit. Edmonton still question marks on who will be in net tonight, if they'll go back to Calvin Pickett or if Skinner will be hitting the ice, and their coach talking about how he needs to get some fresh legs out there as well. So question marks around this team, question marks around the depth. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, if they can be impactful in this game, Edmonton can get the win. But you look at them when they haven't been getting those points on the board, and these are the games Edmonton is losing because that depth just isn't there. I do think in this one, Vancouver at that plus money is where I have to go again. This team has every ability to win it here on the road in Edmonton. And Kevin, I really do think if this goes to Game 7 back in Vancouver, we'll see the Vancouver Canucks choke in that one. Vancouver knows their backs are up against a wall. They need this win here tonight, Kevin. So I'm taking them straight up on the money line.
All right, so rocking with the Canucks on the money line. How about the props in this game, Joe? One thing I noted, Connor McDavid, now it's a small sample size, but he's the league's best player, so you got to hold him to the standard. 3 games, 1 point total. It's his worst 3-game point stretch since November. And that was when the Oilers were atrocious, firing head coaches, and it looked like it was a disaster season on their hands. What are you seeing in the props market tonight here for this game?
Well, if you want to bet anything for Connor McDavid, you're going to have to lay the juice basically on his shots on goal. You're not getting the value for his anytime goal either. And Kevin, you said it. He just hasn't been producing out there. The Vancouver Canucks defensively have been locking him out of those plays. And I wouldn't put my money on Connor McDavid. Now, that being said, he absolutely knows he has to come to play tonight to be able to get this win here at home. So he's going to be impactful in this game. I just can't get there. I think if you're looking at someone for Edmonton, you're going to get better value on Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl, we know, plays on that top line with Connor McDavid. He's been just as impactful, if not more, in the playoffs and during the regular season as Connor McDavid out there. So Leon Draisaitl for his points tonight is where I would circle. You can get him for the 2+ points. That's coming in at plus 102. But I do think this game comes down to who's going to get those shots on goal. We saw Edmonton really step up in that last game. And because we've got third-string goaltenders on both sides, and no disrespect to either of them here, those shots coming from those big playmakers here for Vancouver are vital. And we saw Vancouver be able to really step up in that last game, get those shots, and that led to them being able to get the win. So we know JT Miller was able to close it out in that last game with 33 seconds left on the board, getting that anytime goal. You can look at him today for the goal, or you could just look at him for his shots on goal, because I do think those shots are coming. Over 2.5 shots coming in at plus 100. Elias Pettersson, he absolutely has to play like he did in his last game. That was his his best game out there since the playoffs have started. You can look at him for over 2.5 shots on goal as well at plus 114. And then Zadorov here. I love Zadorov to come out nice and strong. I actually think he probably finds the back of the net lighting that lamp tonight. I would look at his anytime goal, but safer way to go here is shots on goal over 1.5 shots is coming in at minus 122. And then I'm also going to hit the Vancouver Canucks to come out strong right out of the gate with those shots on goal. You can take them for 10 plus shots on goal in the first period. That's coming in at plus 118. In that last game out there, they were able to record 11 shots in that first period. In that second period, they did have 17. I just couldn't find over on FanDuel for that second period shots on goal, but I do expect that hot energy right out of the gate here for Vancouver, Kevin.
Yeah, it's gonna it's gonna be great, and Draisaitl's been so awesome for this team. I'm curious, Joe, if this game tonight is Vancouver wins with McDavid, and I'm probably NBAing up the ice, but this stuff matters when someone is great. What is next for the Oilers? Because he's a certified star, and so is Draisaitl. They have one conference finals appearance to show for it. If they get dropped here to a Vancouver team that they were favored to beat, now maybe the slow start justifies it all. Where do you land on Edmonton if their season ends tonight?
It's always the same thing, Kevin. This team needs to improve on the defensive side of the puck and in net. They need to go after a strong goaltender here, and they just haven't been able to get the goaltender they need. And whilst people think it is Stuart Skinner, look what's happened. They've ditched Stuart Skinner in the playoffs here and gone to Calvin Pickett, a goaltender who hasn't had very much playtime in his 32 years on earth here. So I look at it in this one, and I really do think they've got to go after a very strong goaltender. They need a Jake Ottinger for this team to be able to get things done. Mm-hmm. And they need those top stars on offense to play both sides. They need the depth out there, Kevin.
Yeah, it's going to be a big offseason, possibly for Edmonton, if it ends here. We're going to talk a little bit about the series being set in the Eastern Conference with Florida and New York, as well as get into the baseball board with Joe Madden live on a Saturday morning. It's SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions.
Look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that minus 115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is going 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. Mm-hmm. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Back right here, it's Game Time Decisions. Talking to Joe Madden a little around the NHL, and we're going to do some baseball in a bit. But before we do that, Joe, I want to talk about the Rangers, the Panthers, and everything that we've seen here. And I have to kind of spin it back a little bit because, again, I don't do Fridays. The Rangers win against Carolina. In some ways, I don't know if the Rangers could have done anything more in this series for it to be any more impressive. It's in a way, this might sound ridiculous. If they would have swept Carolina, right? The takeaway is almost, the Hurricanes team, we were overrated, Rangers got hot. But instead, we saw the Rangers take a 3-0 lead against a great team. That great team put a lot of fear in them, take a 3-1 lead in Game 6, all of a sudden at Game 7, all the panic in the world. I was talking to some Rangers fans. They're like, Game 7 is going to be dread. They felt no confidence. They felt like they could win Game 6, but they were so nervous about a Game 7. And the Rangers to win that Game 6 on the road, comeback style, I don't think you could sing the praises enough of this hockey team and what they've done through 2 rounds of this postseason.
Oh, I absolutely agree because the Carolina Hurricanes were the top team favored by the books to take the Stanley Cup. Everyone thought this team was going to go nice and deep and be able to get things done, but the New York Rangers came out so phenomenally strong. This team was underestimated going into this series, especially versus Carolina. They were so strong in the regular season. We know they took the Met, they took the President's Trophy, but yet they were the underdog in every single one of these games. I'm looking at that last matchup there versus Carolina and their win 5-3 on Thursday night. They came out and they played their game. Igor Shesterkin came out so phenomenally strong in that one, and they were able to lock down on the Carolina Hurricanes. So I'm really impressed with what we've seen out of the New York Rangers. I think Igor was due for that bounce back game, and I have so much faith in him going into the next round of the series after he did allow those goals in game 4 and 5 out there to Carolina. So it's so hard for a team like the Carolina Hurricanes to win 3 in a row in the playoff style hockey, Kevin. So I wasn't shocked when the Rangers were able to take it in 6. I'm glad it didn't get pushed to 7 as well, because what we're seeing is these teams having success out there on the road in all of these series compared to at home. That pressure to close things out at home has just been too much, we're finding. So I'm loving these road closeouts here in Game 6, Kevin.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now, as far as Florida goes, Joe, I will say I think they've also been incredibly impressive so far. Tampa Bay, championship pedigree, they smashed that team. Boston, which, side note, have a little pride. I mean, protect your home ice. My God, that is embarrassing. 2-5 postseason record in Boston for the Bruins. I thought that was pathetic. But Florida has looked awesome as well. The interesting thing with this series is all the time off. I mean, puck doesn't drop until Wednesday for this series. Do you think that favors anyone specifically?
You know what? You look at the Florida Panthers and how hard that first game was versus Boston for them. And you've got to think it would favor the New York Rangers, but the Rangers will have a couple more days off here. I'm expecting that first game, we will see the rust between both of these teams and the goaltenders. I would look at that first game to go to the over, and for maybe the Florida Panthers to come out stronger. Offensively, I trust the Florida Panthers more than I do the New York Rangers, but the Rangers on the defensive side of things and in net are so phenomenally strong. This is going to be an incredible series, Kevin. I'm looking at a lot of overtimes between these two teams. We know Florida on the defensive side too has shifted in the playoffs to that team that really can lock down their opponents and not give those shots on goal. I think that time off though, with what we saw out of Florida versus the Boston Bruins in Game 1, we'll see a little bit more of that open play out there on the ice, the defense and goaltending just not being ready out there. You got to think that they don't want that game to go that way, but just with what we've seen in that last one. But the Rangers should come out here nice and strong as well. So it's going to be an epic battle between these two. I don't even know which team I would love to see win here, Kevin, because both of these teams have such strong playmakers out there on the ice. I would love to see both advance, but we know we can't see that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really fun series. I'm excited to break it down. I've had some Rangers fans. I don't know. It's just my same buddies. They're so dumb. Like, oh, you love the Panthers in this series. I didn't even say anything. I've been nothing but nice to the Rangers throughout this postseason. They're going to end up making me flip, Joe. All right, let's talk some baseball here. Try and figure out where we have the value. And I will say, Joe, I know that you are at heart a fan of this Toronto Blue Jays team. But I can tell that you are completely, and this has been the case for a while, disgusted by this Toronto Blue Jays team. And luckily, you're able to see this team clearly and fade them when appropriate, and it looks like today is another one of those circumstances.
Kevin, they've gone 6-14 in their last 20 games. This team has a favorite here at -126 with Kevin Gausman getting absolutely lit up at home. There is no way I'm putting my money on them. So I had to make a play here on the Tampa Bay Rays. Toronto is just being so frustrating to back. And it's not just this season. It was last season and the season before. And history keeps repeating itself with this team. They're just not able to get these clutch games under control. And they come so close, but just don't get things done. So I'm taking the Tampa Bay Rays here. Their team total over 3.5 at -122. You look at Kevin Gausman's numbers, and he's got a 4.94 ERA on the season. But you look at that on the road or at home, Kevin, and that's over a 6. Yeah. I think the Tampa Bay Rays will light him up here, and Zach Eflin will get the start for the Rays. I believe in him. He should come out nice and strong. He's been solid on the road as well. So I would look firstly at the Rays total over 3.5 at -122, but I think you can probably take them straight up on the money line as well. I just don't trust Toronto right now.
Well, and let me add this. I think this is one of the most damning lines of the entire Toronto season. And I know that's probably going to sound bizarre. They're a favorite. Kevin Gausman was a home favorite against the Dodgers. The Dodgers have been dogs twice all year. Now, they actually won that game, funny enough, as well. But now you bring in the Rays. Eflin's fine, okay. And it's -126. I mean, it's 10 cents more expensive than when the Dodgers were there. It's been ugly for the Jays. Joe sticks around. We'll finish out the baseball card next.
Look at the Denver Nuggets and say, whoa, just a week ago, they were that -115 or so price. Now we're looking at them at a 7-1 price. Any chances the Nuggets can actually come back?
I think this is only 6 or 7 games, so I think that could be a little bit of a tighter spread between those two. But when you got those two guys, those two monsters, and Towns and Edwards, it's just really hard.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Cam Rising stuff last year with Utah, 3 months of pretending he was questionable with a torn ACL, ridiculous.
It's a lot of gray right now when it comes to this stuff, and we really are. When people say we're in like the second or third inning of sports betting, that's why I agree, because there's so many of those situations that are very, very difficult to explain to a novice.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for, so I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. Mm-hmm. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Live with you right here at SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions. It's a Saturday morning. We're on the board. PGA Championship. Have we started playing golf yet? Sure we have. Anybody doing anything interesting so far? Nah. Zalatoris 1 under. T29. Does that move the needle for anyone? Cam Smith even. There's not much happening. We'll get there, though. My little Rory Hideki top 20 parlay. I'm now horrified to say Rory's last name. McIlroy. Nailed it. Said it way wrong last time. All right, let's finish up the baseball board. Joe Madden's here. Joe, everyone loves the Nerfy. Or the Yerfy. It all depends. People, in group chats, they send them. I feel a coward around these things. I feel like I don't get involved enough in the Nerfy and the Yerfy business. Maybe today I'll force myself to find one, but I know you can always find one or two. What are you looking for here today, Joe?
I love betting the Nerfy, and I'm going to look at the matchup between the Detroit Tigers and the Arizona Diamondbacks for it today. That Nerfy coming in, it's juiced at minus 135, but rightly so. We're getting the start here with Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks, and I do believe in him coming out so strong versus the Detroit Tigers. The Diamondbacks in this one are just fuming after what we saw yesterday with the Tigers being able to put up 13 runs, not able to hit Screwball, and Nelson getting just lit up. So I do think in this one, Zach Gallen comes out so strong at the mound, and Jack Flaherty's getting the start for the Detroit Tigers. While he's not being epic, I can count on him in that first inning to really limit the bats of the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks have been getting on base. They just have been struggling to bring their runners home. So this could be one where we get a little scared here as the Diamondbacks get a couple runners on base in that first inning. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think we get the Nerfy hitting here, Kevin.
All right, no runs in that first inning. Hopefully a million runs in the first inning of Phillies Nationals. Joe, what do you like in this game?
Yeah, I think we're going to get a ton of runs here. And this total of 7.5, I think the books aren't expecting the Nats to be able to get those runs on the board. But I do think they can, and I think they actually have the opportunity of getting the win. I'm going to take the over 7.5 in this one. Sanchez has been giving up at least a run in his starts out here, and I do think the Nationals will get some momentum off of him in this one. Mackenzie Gore should come out strong here for the Washington Nationals as well. He's got a strikeout prop of 6.5 today. I do like that to the over at plus 102. He's coming off a game where he was able to get those 9 strikeouts versus the Red Sox. And I think just look for the runs. They're all going to come in this game. 7.5, I was shocked by this number with this pitching matchup, Kevin. I expect those runs to come in nicely today.
All right, looking for some runs there. As, again, behind this every show, the Nationals are brought up. They are the most popular team on this network, apparently. At least it feels that way. Strikeout props, Joe. Who are you looking for on the today's slate?
Yeah, I've got to look at Seth Lugo here to go over his strikeout number. Now, it's at 5.5 at minus 148 to the over. I don't want to lay that much juice, but I do have faith in him to come out here and get 7+ strikeouts. So I fired up that number. You're getting that at plus 144. He is coming off a stellar game versus the LA Angels, where he was able to get 12 strikeouts on the board. And versus the Oakland A's here, I think he's going to dominate offensively. He's been able to get those strikeouts at home, recording 37 strikeouts at home. And when we look at his last couple of matchups, like I said, versus the Angels, he had 12. The Brewers, he didn't have over this number of 7, only able to record 5. But versus my Toronto Blue Jays, who don't strike out as much as the A's, he was able to record those 8 and 9 versus Detroit. So I do find him coming out here with that strength, being able to get the strikeouts here and just dominate the A's lineup. So give me Seth Lugo for the fired up number, 7+ strikeouts at plus 144, Kevin.
All right, there you go. Locked in little Seth Lugo action. This Royals team, very interesting. I have a win total under. Not going well. It's not going well. They're too good, this Royals team. I'm not happy about it, but a lot of season left. A lot of game left here. And Joe, I am sure that you will be on the... Are you doing anything with the horses today, Joe? Are you going to bet the Preakness?
I want to. I haven't just got to the window with who I'm going to go with there. Who are you going with, Kevin?
I don't know. The Catching Freedom sounds fine. I'm not Mystic Dan. Maybe I'll bet the field. The most chalkiest bet in the history of horse betting. Time will tell. We'll see. Joe, we appreciate it as always. Enjoy the rest of the day as there's a lot of great action here on this Saturday. Appreciate it, Joe.
Thanks, Kevin. Good luck to everyone out there.
All right, great stuff as always. We're going to hit a break here on Game Time Decisions. When we get back, we dive a little bit more into today's slate. 1 o'clock baseball, just one game, and then it's 2 or later, so we've gotten a lot more time to kind of get involved with the baseball. We'll hit the NBA, we'll hit the PGA. Coaches on deck as well.